Hincks and Diane King-Hall back with me, our senior equities correspondents and contributors and the whole team, because we got actually a pretty busy slate here. Snowflake, VFC, E.L.F, among the, key name of NVIDIA, Diane, but I don't think we can ignore like Snowflake. That's going to be important. VFC's been an absolute mess, so that's going to be just like maybe a car wreck to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we do have several names to dive into after the close here. Snowflake watching just kind of where the trajectory goes from here, especially after we know that CEO transition earlier this year that wasn't expected. There had been some chatter that in terms of where the guide was and the lowering of the guide was to give some time for the new CEO to kind of things to operate under helm. But keep in mind, he does come from the AI arm and previously had experience at Google. So Goldman analyst said, we may be underestimating the direction that Snowflake goes from here. But VFC, certainly continues to face some challenges. They've been going through this reinvent, transform program in an effort to both cut costs, that's one of the areas, and then transform Vans as well. Vans in the North Face were kind of key to where it goes from here. E.L.F is expected to perform well, though, among those that we're watching after this close.
Yeah, a lot of turnaround needed for VFC. E.L.F was kind of like in a world of its own beauty-wise and was a super strong trade, but that too is kind of broken down a little bit in their last couple reports. Super competitive. We were talking about Macy's earlier this week, doubling down on their Blue Mercury products. So, like, E.L.F is no longer operating as freely as it was before.
No, but E.L.F does have a stronghold on that younger generation. So whether we're talking about Gen Z or Gen Alpha, which I can't believe Gen Alpha is playing in makeup, but they are. So E.L.F has maintained some leadership there. But again, we know that consumers can be fickle, especially in the beauty and cosmetics space. So the potential for we'll be watching out for the potential for some headwinds. But E.L.F has tried out some things with regard to TikTok and the new TikTok shops. Although, TikTok has its own challenges and where that goes.
Right.
So, we'll be... Exactly.
That's a great point. No, that's a great point, because they were really like heating up with the, the cheaper alternatives and stuff. And now if TikTok's not going to be the place to go, I actually do think it's important. It's one of the most important, organic advertising avenues. All right, Snowflake, tech-wise, I think is interesting, Kevin. I mean, it's not too late for some of the post-COVID letdowns in software to find some, buyers.
Here's the thing. Snowflake, coming off what they did to it last quarter after earnings.
Right.
I mean, down 20%, and then the coming days down another
brutalized
20%.
Well, because they're still losing money.
Yeah. And
it's been a while now.
So here's the point we made today on Fast Market when we cover this name. Salesforce, Palo Alto Networks, MongoDB, Workday, all weaker forecasts coming out.
Right.
So
all competitors.
If that trend follows, this could be another ugly quarter. So we're watching really closely how they come up with this quarter. Although it looks like Snowflake just jumped $10 here.
Yeah.
Is it out?
Well, it looks like
I don't have
somebody,
it. Yeah,
somebody got it.
It's up $14.
Yeah, there it is.
There
Numbers just came out. So yeah, they're ripping here in the aftermarket. After, of course, last time was big sell-off. So revenue beat estimates. Oh, wow, nice. Revenue smashed.
$789.6 million in the first quarter, representing 34% year-over-year growth, net revenue retention rate of 128%.
Yeah. So they definitely beat, and the outlook, too, beat pretty well. So their second quarter, they say product revenue, which is different than total revenue. Product revenue, 805 to 810 million. Street was expecting them to say 790 million for the next quarter. The top line figures for total revenue, that 789 you mentioned for product revenue was indeed a beat, Kev. But the total revenue, 828.7 million. Street was expecting 786. So Snowflake kind of just crushed it, Diane.
They did. I mean, I literally let out a wow as you were saying that. And look, Goldman made the point that we were underestimating, the market was underestimating the new CEO and the potential for him to operate in that environment. We know that Snowflake has been trying to grow the AI muscle in-house as well. And they had some headwinds this week with the breakdown of that deal to buy Reka AI. Look, that broke down. So there was, kind of, okay, where does it go next? But Kevin just made the point in terms of how competitors are doing in this space, and it shows that there are winners and losers here, and Snowflake clearly capitalized on where the market is and has outperformed in this most recent quarter.
Yeah, kind of a return to form here as far as a post-COVID growth disappointment. All of these companies in that same basket of booming growth from COVID have been some of the most frustrating trades out there. So to see them come back, even though they're still losing money. So I'm not sure if this changes really like the market's overall perception of them, because we've been very disciplinarian, the market's nature for companies that are still losing money. But their margin did improve from a year ago. It was 74%, their adjusted gross margin, 73% a year ago. Analysts are expecting it to come in at 73.3. So there are signs here, Kev, of profitability improvements too that maybe can help us, move on from the loss that's still on the bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, this is a company. Remember what they do. It's cloud-based data. You should think, but remember, once decelerating growth kicks in, they go right to valuation as the next step along their path.
Of course.
By the way, Synopsis is out. That stock looks like it's down about $30, $25 to $30 after earnings here. It looks like a miss here on, let's see, Synopsis. Second quarter adjusted earnings $3 a share, misses 303 estimate. Sales $1.455 billion, misses $1.519 billion. So miss on earnings per share, miss on sales, stock down $30. 30, it's a wide market, but right around $30.
Yeah, outlook range a little bit shy. Their high end of the range for Synopsis third quarter revenue, they say 1.51 to 1.54 billion. Street was looking for 1.54, so they may come up a little bit short on that. More of kind of a cyclical tech player, but still an important business and supplier within the semiconductor world. So a little bit of a note there just in this sector. Stock has been trading pretty elevated with the trailing PE of 62, so it's definitely been on the run the last year. But a little bit different from some of the AI stuff. Systems on a chip has been their forte. But, I mean, anytime you're talking integrated circuits, you're going to have a little AI excitement built into that valuation. So I think that's coming off a little bit here. Synopsis down in the aftermarket, getting hit. All right, let's check in on a few others here.
E.L.F., we got E.L.F. Beauty out.
Yeah, I want to go to E.L.F. because that one has
Kevin is just knocking these out.
Yeah. E.L.F. right now down a little bit here. Sales $321 million as the stock has been cooling off a little bit from the last report. The outlook has been the one that folks are worried about, kind of like we were talking about, Diane, maybe the market getting a little saturated. And I think their outlook comes up fairly short. When you look at sales, sales are okay, but their earnings outlook, sales for the 2025 fiscal year, 1.23 to 1.25. That's a miss versus 1.28 billion. And then the EBITDA is a pretty big miss. They're saying they could get up to 289. Street was looking for 300. I mean, these are not insignificant misses.
No, and I mean, that kind of points to the concern about the sagging consumer and where consumers are starting to make choices. And look, E.L.F. is considered, E.L.F. is an inexpensive brand when you compare it to others. It had gained a lot of, it's not just a popularity play as well. It's done well in terms of dupes, those being the duplicate version of some of the more expensive brands. So although they beat on both the top and bottom line, the concern about that guidance is a real concern about that sector as well. And just a a quick note on Synopsis. It looks like short. Yes, the stock has done well in general this year, but they're missing along with they've just had headwinds this week with that, also adding to the bit about the regulatory scrutiny in terms of its deal with, I'm going to mispronounce the name, Anasis. I can't remember exactly how to pronounce that name. The Chinese regulators increased scrutiny on that deal. So for Synopsis, that's tough. But to go back to E.L.F., again, that expected increase of sales coming up light, that's not a great look for E.L.F. right now.
Yeah, they're definitely missing in a way I don't think that the stock is ready for, especially when they were kind of the darling of this market for a little bit there. But if you think about it, kind of like every makeup business has had their moment in the spotlight, from Ulta to E.L.F., so
Sephora.
Yeah, right. The fact that they're going to miss is going to get punished here for sure.
I tell you what, it's not a miss on earnings per share or revenue. It's the guidance.
Trailing, yeah,
light, right.
Trailing not bad.
Yeah.
Guidance outlook a little light. So, all right, we're looking for VFC, basically the last one of the list here, which is getting hit too. I mean, look, this is kind of like, again, watching a train wreck a little bit for VF Corp. They just haven't done anything right, Diane, in a long time.
No, I mean, it's because, when is the last time you've seen, vans everywhere like it used to be? So they've had to work on this turnaround story, this reinvention story, and they're just coming up short when it comes to that. Adjusted EPS was a big miss. The expectation was for a penny a share. It's a loss of 32 cents a share on an adjusted basis. Sales were $2.4 billion. That's a little light, but it just does not look good. It's not clean numbers at all for VF Corp.
Yeah, ouch. Big miss when they were expected to swing a profit on an adjusted basis, too. Not even GAAP. They couldn't even swing an adjusted, Kev.
Vans, North Face, Timberland, Dickies. It's a bad one, and the stock's down. What is that? It's $1 on. It's 8%.
Yeah.
$1 on $12.
It's going to be a fresh low for VFC. The recent low is $11.91, and we're trading at $11.32 right now. So it's getting slammed. All right. What else is there to say? I don't want to gloat.
I mean, no, we can go through some of these numbers in VFC. North Face down 5%, Vans down 26%. So they claim that's consistent with the prior quarter. I'd have to double back to look at those numbers. They talked about the efforts to right size inventories in the wholesale channel for Vans. Clearly, they're still struggling with that. It's really just not great numbers across the board when you're looking at that. Even, they said for the North Face, they pointed out ongoing U.S. wholesale weakness. So their weakness in their strong brands, that's just difficult to overcome.
Yeah, brutal. All right, everybody's wearing everything else but VF brands. All right, so E.L.F. takes a hit, VF Corp takes a hit, Synopsis too. Our winner is Snowflake so far. Thanks, Kevin, Hincks, Diane King Hall. Appreciate that.